in cloud hands, it's unlike a T stance, an L stance, and a bow stance, but it's a sideways motion. In a sideways motion, it's something similar to playing the piano, in that our fingers are like our toes. When one toe sits down, the other one rises up and takes its turn, alternating, okay? And in cloud hands, it's a sideways motion, and what we're trying to promote is not only balance, but we're trying to be a little lighter than we normally are because we are floating in the sky. We're billowy, we're rounded rather than angular and sharp, okay? So those are the things that cloud hands, the word cloud hands conjure up in your mind. So we as Tai Chi practitioners then have to kind of promote this. So I'm going to just do it for you, and then you see the components. And then we'll talk about it. To get out of it, we come into a golden cockerel, okay? To get out of cloud hands. So as you can see, the feet were going one sideways, coming, closing, opening, and then we didn't end up way that way. We started to go this way. So then we closed the form, and the alternate foot led our movements to go to the opposite direction. So that's the feet, okay? And you notice that the feet weren't moving like this, but they were deliberately parallel. The feet are parallel, and you slowly went up to your toe, and you led with your toe rather than your heel. So it's a toe that goes down first, and when that foot is then fully grounded, the other one can take its turn, but always leading with the toe, just like the fingers of a piano player, okay? Now, the top portion takes a lot into consideration because you're using your hips and waist to move. So no matter where my hands would be, I would be moving this way because my hips and waist are engaged, okay? Even when I start the other way, yes, I'm going to have to somehow coordinate my hips to make my movements happen, okay? So one of the best ways to teach cloud hands is to know those two components, big components, but actually to have a big clock in front of you, a big kind of, I would say, an elongated clock rather than a circular clock, mainly because we're looking at the points of 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. Because something happens at those three numbers or numerical locations. So if you can see, something happens. And how am I getting out to the extremities of the numbers? My hips and waist are taking me. All I have to do is set up my hand. And as long as my hips and waist are moving, I can now get to the different numbers, right? So in other words, if my hips and waist were not moving, it only becomes a hand motion, which is not Tai Chi. But I'm engaging my hips and waist, okay? So there's several ways to look at the hands. The hands are doing similar things, but in an I want to say an opposite way. One is on the top, one's on the bottom. They switch. So right now I can see one palm on the top and I can't see the palm on the bottom. But then when I switched at 3 o'clock, I can now see the palm of the other hand that I wasn't seeing before, right? So this is what we're going to tackle. It can be the most beautiful movement in the 10 form once you get it, okay? But it can be a challenge. So we're gonna separate feet and hands for now, okay? Feet and hands. So we're gonna take feet first, just the way we learned how to do parting of the wild horse's mane. So let's see. The transition step is part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down. Is that right? Pivot, then we're here. Okay, so we're going to leave the transition to, we're going to leave the transition to later on, okay? We're just going to isolate cloud hands now, okay? So let's get into position, equally weighted feet, and we're going to put our hands here at the, actually we're not going to put our hands, okay? We said we would do feet. Okay, so we're here. Actually here, lift off to the toe of the left, on the toe, lift off the ground, toe, arch heel, heel comes up on the toe, close the feet, toe, arch heel, heel, toe, open, toe, arch heel, heel comes up because we lead with the toe, up with the heel because we lead with the toe. Up with the heel because we lead with the toe. Let's go the other way now. Up with your heel, lead with the toe. Up with the heel, close with the toe. Toe, toe, heel. Toe, close, up, open, down. Okay, so basically this is how we're going to move. It gets thrown off, of course, once we put our upper body together, right? But you'll get a sensation like you're falling off, and then when you feel like you're falling off, you're going to have to close your feet, okay? See if you can detect that, okay? So this is just an overview. There are lots of other things that we can teach you, but for now, let's put our left hand, palm facing us, higher. Right about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Not at 3 yet because we're not in motion, because we don't want to strain that far. But once we start moving, we'll get out to the 3. So 12 o'clock here, maybe 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, something there. Left hand higher, palms facing you. Right hand lower, palms away. Okay? So we're just going to stand here now, okay? And we're going to move our hips and waist. 12 o'clock, we have a stem and we have a cup. Can you do that? Stem and a cup. Stem from the left hand and a cup 2 inches below your navel as if you are in a cup position or you're holding a cup. Turn your hips and waist, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We have to do something because we're at the extreme of the clock. We flip the top hand so we no longer see the palm, and the right hand takes the top position. Turn your hips and waist, stem and a cup. Turn the hips and waist, 3 o'clock. What happens? 2 things happen. Flip the top hand, bring the bottom hand up. Move the hips and waist, 12 o'clock, stem, cup. Move the hips and waist, 9 o'clock, flip the hand, change the position of the hands. Turn the hips and waist, 12 o'clock, stem, cup. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, 12 o'clock, stem, cup. 9 o'clock, flip the hands. Okay? So any problem down? Not too much, right? Not too much. And then you can pick up the speed a little bit and see if it'll work for you. And don't forget, it's not a hand motion, so move those hips and waist that we warmed up nicely. continue, okay? And at some point, I want you to still continue. I just want to see. Don't be afraid. It doesn't matter. All I want you to be sure to do is to make your motions rounded and led by your hips and your waist. Okay, looks really good, okay? So you're using your hips and waist. You're looking at your clock that has the 9 and the 3, and you're getting out to that point by using your hips and waist to direct your movements. Okay, good, good, very good. Okay, so this is essentially what you did for me. And we can test this by saying, if you want to ask yourself, are your hands really going for the ride? And are your hips and waist really doing the job? You could just put your hands here and do the hands move. They still go out to 9 o'clock. They still reach out to 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So that's good. So you know that you're using your hips and waist. So you don't want to get into a rut to say, oh, I got 9, oh, I got 12, oh, I got 9, oh, I got 3. And keep this guy still, because you will not, it's not good, okay? It's not what Tai Chi stands for, okay? So in this particular case, the hips and waist are going to help you with your movements, and it's going to be, we're striving for core-related activities, core-related, because our core is essential in preventing falls and keeping ourselves strong. It's not the hands. The hands are not going to save you from a fall. It's being able to keep your head straight up and your vertical dantian point straight up. So we've got to strengthen our core, and what a better way to do it than in cloud hands, okay? Or all of Tai Chi. All right, we're going to try this. It's going to be fun. So another way of looking at it is Ken likes to come up and say, it's like reading the newspaper. You turn the page. Your eyes read the top. You turn the page, okay? So on and so forth. He also says it's like egg beaters. Egg beaters go this way. One goes round, the other guy goes counterclockwise. It's just like our hands in a similar fashion, okay? But we don't get too bent on it, because we're not really egg beaters or newspaper readers, but you can use that as a way of thinking about how to get your movements going. All right. So we're going to put feet and hands together, okay? Because it's going to be fun, because we came to Tai Chi to enjoy something, okay? So my feet are like this, actually closed. Left hand on the top, right hand on the bottom. Shift weight to the right. Two things happen. Oh, I'm supposed to close. 3 o'clock, two things happen. 9 o'clock, two things happen. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Two things happen is flipping and opening, or flipping and closing, okay, depending. Okay, so you can see that the extremities of the clock, two things can happen. But you can also see that if two things always happen, we'd only go one way, and we'd probably end up in the wall. So the choreographing of the 10 form warrants only a few steps of cloud hands. Then we have to go the other way. So instead of two things happening at 9 o'clock, only one thing happened, which was a flip. But we want to direct our movement now to the right. Two things happen at 9. Flip and open. Two things happen at 3, flip and close. And all the time that we're doing this, make sure that your shoulders are down. Okay, so that's a way of relaxing. Okay, let's go the other way. So remember I said you'll get a sensation like you're falling off. But what do? Stabilize by closing the feet. You get a sensation like you're falling off right now. What do? Open. Falling off, you close. And you open. Let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. Okay, I'm going to give you a little break now, okay? So how was it? How was it? Hard? Raise it if it's hard. Yeah, a little hard. Why? Because you couldn't coordinate the hands with the feet. Yeah. So there, and then was it fun though? Kinda. No stress, right? No stress. I think it can be complicated, not so much the feet part, but the hand part. Like, what do? So you might want to take one, although sometimes it's easier to put it to two. You just keep on going doing this. And then you take the other one and you go the other way. So this is how you can picture it. So you have I want to say like an egg carton or something long like this, but you have rounded corners. So all you're doing is getting out to that rounded corner and you're doing this, okay? So this is that elongated shape here, and there are no sharp corners, so your hand has to be rounded, especially at the ends, okay? Then you're going to say, okay, how far do my hands go? You know that if I do it this way, I'm not in Tai Chi posture. You know that if I do it this way, I'm not in Tai Chi posture. So you keep your Tai Chi posture, and your hands are, I don't know, maybe a foot, 10 inches, I'm not sure. Something comfortable, huh? Yeah, not close. But what I want to caution you about is that a lot of people, they are so determined to do Tai Chi so well that when it comes to cloud hands, they raise their shoulders and they're stiff, whereas you need to tell yourself and push yourself down and say, drop the shoulders and just work with the core. Just work with the core and the hips and waist. Then it comes out very, very relaxing. But once you start to feel that you're tensed because you want to achieve something, check your shoulder, okay, check your shoulder. Because in the beginning on anything, usually you're determined to do it right, and then you kind of tense up to achieve that point. But you have to tell yourself, no, Tai Chi, drop the shoulders, okay? So you'll see some of my very matured, experienced students still having that problem of dropping their shoulders, not necessarily only in cloud hands, but in others, because they got accustomed to it. And like Bill is doing, and what Ken was just doing, we did this, and we're dropping this and loosening this guy up. So this is the time to really put it to task, okay? We won't worry too much about how to get in and out of cloud hands, but it's pretty tricky, okay? I'll just show you what happens, okay? So cloud hands is done after we part the wild horse's mane the second time. We leave ourselves in a bow stance and we reposition our hands. Then the feet alignment says you have to sit back and you have to sit down. With the turn on like a twist step or pivot, I'm at a 12 o'clock. But I want to get out to 9 o'clock. How am I going to do it? Look at the feet. Sure, we have the power of the pivoting of our heel, of our left heel. Hey, something magical. The hand went with the body. Two things usually happen at 9. Flip the hands, close the feet. 12 o'clock stem cup. Usually two things happen at 3. Flip the hands, open the feet. But because 10 form is very short, we can't continually do cloud hands. At 9 o'clock this time, we only flip our hands because we have to go in the other direction. The other direction is 3 o'clock direction. Flip the hands, close the feet. 9 o'clock, two things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. And then the choreograph says, no, we can't do any more cloud hands, so we can only flip the hands. I'm at pretty much 50-50. I come to 12 o'clock. I shift my weight to the left foot. I spiral up. I push down. I pull up. I become a golden cockerel. And then I do the other side. That's how we get in and out of cloud hands, okay? It can be very beautiful. Okay, so